Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hitbox Challenger Face-Off number 2. It is the first series of the day with Aria eSports versus Tricked eSports. Tricked being one game up or one game away from securing their spot in those semi-finals, and they're rolling with the exact same bans as we saw last game.
They're not putting out... Oh, there is the Aria though. They don't want... Well, actually it's Aria banning the Aria, so that is a bit... weird. Perhaps Babunia is a huge Aria expert that I'm not aware of, but I thought they played Aria quite well last game, so a bit surprised that it is on the ban list. Let's see if they do ban the Aria though, but no, there's the Janna, so two champions that they've played themselves last game is now banned.
Yep, so Aurelia and Janna will indeed not be played this game. That does leave open some other options, because I believe the Corki was banned last game, and perhaps the Maokai. I'm quite certain about the Corki, not so sure about the Maokai though. But at least Corki is open for this game. So that is something Tricked can roll with if they want to first pick that. They have first pick this game, so they have a important decision to make, if you will. Aria will of course be able to pick up two champions when it is their turn to pick this time around. Twitch being hard over as they do decide to rotate that one over to the Thresh, and they do in fact decide to first pick Thresh in this case. Very solid pick always.
Yeah, solid all-around pick, can play into pretty much any team composition and any bottom lanes, and it worked out pretty well last game. I think Nico played a fun game, controlling vision and moving around, on the Thresh being a threat on towards the map, so I'm not surprised at all by that lock-in. Let's see what the count is going to be here. We saw Nuke Deck on the Katarina last game not having a great showing, so looks like it's going to be the Corki, and I think Nuke Deck wants to change up his mid lane pick.
Yeah, I would have... Last game, I really did not agree with an early Katarina pickup. Sure, he may be really good on Katarina, but I think Katarina is one of the champions that is quite easily countered. As we did see with Tyradus just completely rolling over Nuke Duck in his lane, and I think a large part of that win of Tricked can be attributed to Tyradus, well, completely stomping Nuke Duck in lane, to be fair, as we do now see Speed picking up the Corki, which was open, and lifting, going with the Lee Sin this time around.
Yeah, like the Lee Sin, and we can see here really quick lock-ins there for Tricked, so they are going with the exact same champions as last game, whereas Aria is really switching up the pick so far. I do also want to comment on the Lee Sin, perhaps opening up Nuke Deck for a Yasuo pick in the mid lane if he so chooses, because Lee Sin and Yasuo classic combo, that is, they are pretty much very strong in combination here. So let's see if that's what Nuke Deck wants to go for. It can be risky to first pick here, so I'm not so sure what it's going to be, but it looks like it's going to be the Braum along with the Corki there.
Yeah, Braum and Corki in the bottom lane, which is quite a high damage lane, I guess, but which is also really nice for the Corki because he'll be able to defend him. Touch that is, of course. I've been told, by the way, that a Tryndamere is a targeted ban towards Speed, because apparently you do not let Speed get Tryndamere, courtesy of Hitbox chat. So that is probably why they decide to ban Tryndamere, which dazzled me a bit, but that makes it quite understandable if Speed really likes to play the Tryndamere.
The Kassadin is locked in here along with the Braum for Aria, but I'm not so sure it's going to be in the mid lane for Nuke Deck. It might as well be in the top lane for Speed. And it's a good pick when you don't know what the opponents are going for, because you can see which lane is the Kassadin going to have the best time in, and then put him in that lane, of course. But I would actually say that if I had to choose, I would put this Kassadin on Speed and pick up Yasuo for Nuke Deck, depending on the picks here, of course, for Tricked. Aria, of course, open as it was last game. And yeah, there it looks like the Aria is going to be hovered over.
Yeah, it seems indeed like they may be wanting to pick that one up. If it works, if it's not broken, why fix it in this case? Tyradus will once again be playing the Aria in that mid lane versus something that has not been decided yet. Touch now hovering over the Zilean, which would make it a Zilean mid lane. Orianna always works as well. That means that the Kassadin is going towards that top lane versus a Jax. I'm not too sure whether I like that matchup in favor of the Kassadin, but we're just going to have and see how that one works. And Touch now hovering over the Twisted Fate, and Jace is going to be the one that is locked in. We saw some spectacular Jace play yesterday, really hitting those skill shots and sniping people left and right. Makes for a really fun game to watch.
And I'm not sure if it's Throwback Thursday now, it's more like Throwback Saturday here for Babunia, going with the Malphite in the first game and now picking up the Jax, champions that are not common at all in the current meta game, but I think Jax is going to be working out fine here, as he is always going to be that really late game threat, and versus Kassadin, he can actually, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe he can actually block the Kassadin Netherblade W attack with his Counter-Strike, and if he's able to pull that off, it's going to be a large part of Kassadin's damage that is going to be completely neglected.
Both of the teams locking in all of their champions, or have locked in all of their champions. Not a lot of diversity compared to last game on the Tricked roster, but hey, once again, if it's not broken, you shouldn't fix it. And on the other side, Aria really looking to switch it up this time around. We'll see whether it works out. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be loading on towards the Rift. Second game between Tricked eSports and Aria coming on your screens in just a couple of minutes.
You know when you keep running but your legs are standing still. It's like you're stuck in a nightmare, but you keep doing it for the thrill. Well, this is reality, you only live it once, so wake up from your dream. But just for tonight, let the lines get blurred, let your thoughts be free, let your thoughts be free.
Go to sleep, open my eyes, I'm looking down. Whenever you're calling, baby, you know I turn around. I see your face, but not one sign. Whatever is calling, baby, you know I turn around. Baby, you know how to turn around. Baby, you know how to turn around. I'll go to sleep. Open my eyes. Not one sound. Whatever is calling, baby, you know I'll turn around.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hitbox Challenger Face-Off. It is game 2 between TRC and Aria eSports. TRC, of course, being tricked. First game went over to Tricked eSports. Aria eSports looking to redeem themselves in this one, but it may be a very tall task to face for them. Actually lifting, maybe invading here. Doesn't land the Sonic Wave. Nico also making sure he does not get any weird ideas in his head, because that is, they definitely don't want someone invading at this point, but they might actually be brute forcing. Babunia in that top lane is going to get run in upon by Speed. Nico taking a bit of a beating, decides to level Flay first, and finally Touch will back off. Everyone gets out, and it seems like no casualties will be falling in the early game so far.
A completely different early game on level 1 compared to last game, where it was extremely passive. Now we do have a bit of aggression coming out of both teams, and still the flasks and the TPs in top lane, so Babunia and Speed are not going to be killing each other in the early game. They're just going to be trying to farm up here, as we do still have Touch sitting on top of the wall there, actually, so Tiridius is putting down some damage. Interestingly enough, we do have 2 Ignites on the Trick team, but while we have 2 Exhausts on the team of Aria, and I think that's quite wise to save an exhaust for the late game Jax if it gets to that point, because he's going to be very scary.
Yeah, he is going to be very, very scary indeed. We do see a lane swap being initiated here by Tricked eSports, so they do not want to have Nico and Sena facing up against Touch and Prebz, or perhaps they specifically want them facing off against Speed, because they think they can deny Speed so much farm and CS as possible. Speed has now spotted that that lane swap was initiated, so he's going to go ahead and walk along with the lifting in some kind of a buddy system. But we do have Moarth, Babunia and Nico walking into the jungle. Nico's been spotted out, so Aria know what is going on here, but in the end no one's going to get caught, and that means both of these bottom lanes, or top lanes in the case of Tricked, will have free roam for the time being.
And this is it basically comes down to Jax being such a better jungler than Kassadin. Kassadin is going to be like really weak until level 6, but we might see a fight here in the bottom side jungle, as Babunia and Muvat now sitting on top of a ward, and here comes Speed lifting and Touch.
Ooh, this could be bad here for Moarth. Moarth taking a bit of of those stun stacks from the Braum. That red buff is being heavily contested here by Aria. Some null spheres coming out. Touch not done with this one just yet. Moarth actually falling pretty low. It's going to be Aria that take this red buff, and they decide to back away. Some good damage from Tricked eSports. Nico still level 1, only has the Flay available. He does a flash, so he could go for a flash Flay, but it is a really dangerous proposition. Nuke Duck facing off against Tiridius, being poked so hard, and once again Tiridius takes the better of that trade.
Pretty sure that Muvat actually got the red buff, as he's now wearing both a red and a blue one. So that actually came out on top for Tricked in the end, as the smite was really on point.
My
there.
bad, sorry.
But yeah, Babunia and Nico is actually going to be going in a 2 vs 2 here versus Touch and Prebz in the bottom lane, and just farming under the tower is probably going to be okay for them, as they really want every bit of farm that they can get on towards Babunia, while Speed is going to be having a bit of a tougher time in the top lane. Yeah, I think it is a brilliant... It was a brilliant choice for Trick to go for the lane swap, as Kassadin is going to be really weak until level 6. While Jax is not only going to be able to jungle, he also has both a gap closer and a stun at level 2. So it was a good chance here, but as the minion waves were getting in towards the towers, both top laners decided to go and try and suck up as much as XP and gold as possible. However, one thing that came out of this is that Babunia has TP while Speed has not, so we'll see if Trick try to use that to their advantage later.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Tricked also opt to send Nico down to that bottom lane, making sure Babunia has the support he needs against Prebz and Touch. Meanwhile, on that top lane, Moarth is going to be helping out Sena, and he's really spending a lot of time waiting for Speed here. Just leveled up, so he might have what he needs here to take down Speed. Instantly flashes Speed, that is, but it may not be enough. They're under the tower, Sphere comes down, and the shield as well, but it really is not enough, and Sena picks up the kill.
Yeah, that was really a confident dive there for Move today. That in the end was really able to pay off. He is also level 4 compared to just level 3 of lifting, so he didn't have to fear the counter gank as much as he perhaps could have been there. So yeah, Nico and Babunia still trying to pick up some CS on towards the tower here. They are having an okay time, as it's actually around 18-19 CS for both the top laners, but Speed is going to be missing quite a few, both experience and gold here, as Sena and Move is pushing out the top lane here, as Speed has to actually walk back. But here comes Lifting, moves here, fight, the Resonating Strike does not land.
Resonating Strike does not land indeed. Sena's going to be A-okay. And so is Moarth, both heading back towards base. 1,600 gold for Sena, and we know what that means. It's an instant blood or BF sword pickup. Bloodthirster would have been a bit over the top, I think, as he'll be heading back into lane with that BF sword. And well, Speed may have a bad time because of that.
Radius is so good at landing these charms, landing them continuously on towards Nuke deck, but this is of course a much more even early game matchup than Katarina versus Ari, as his Jace is also ranged and has a lot of ability to put out damage. Tyriadis is keeping up the push though, pushing this lane as quick as he possibly can. But these laners are probably just going to be fine. The interesting thing is going to be after the first back. Wow, Tyriadis is actually going in, the charm does not land.
Tyriadis indeed being really feisty here, going in on towards Nuke Duck, but really not having enough damage, and on top of that forcing the exhaust out of Nuke Duck. Tyriadis rather, not quite having enough damage in the end, mainly because of the exhaust. Maybe in a bit of trouble though, because Lifting is coming in from the side. Flash comes in, there's the charm on towards Nuke Duck, manages to pick up the kill. Now here's Moarth to help him out. Lifting really does not have enough to take him down. However, Speed is here from the side. Tyriadis will go down eventually, but here's the teleport out of Babunia to help them out. Lifting being forced to flash. He does have that counter-strike challenge. Oh, doesn't quite land the stun on Speed, however. Speed now taking a bit of damage, but because that stun did not land, he'll make it out to safety. And meanwhile, that bottom lane, Touch did go down. Oh, Prebz does go down. Double kill for Nico. What just happened?
Amazing play from Nico in the bottom lane, getting the double kill on the dive. And wow, Tyriadis, I mean, it's Tyriadis carrying through the early game last time, and he's doing so again as Move is now going towards the red buff here, on towards Lifting. Wow, early game domination from Tricked if he can get the kill here.
Yeah, they're not done just yet, and Lifting is an easy pickup for Moarth at this point. Really just doesn't decide to go for the red buff just yet. Probably was sniffing out Speed, who was heading towards him. Moarth now heading towards that top lane. He gets a kill on towards Lifting. Unfortunately for him, doesn't quite get the red buff, but hey, kill's a kill, right?
Absolutely, and that kill in the mid lane allowed Tyriadis to go back for his needed large rod versus Nuke Duck, who went for the tear as well as a pickaxe, which means that the actual gold they put into combat stats is a lot lower than what Tyriadis did because of the cost of the tier, of course, which gives no combat stats whatsoever. But I mean, I just have to, if we had a replay system, we would go back and watch that bottom lane dive once more, because that was amazing play from Nico, as Lifting is taking even more damage here from Move, really bullying out this poor Lee Sin, and Tyriadis doing the same in towards the mid lane. Domination from Tricked so far, unless Lifting wants to go for something as Speed is coming around. Here's level 6, it has the Rift Walk.
Yeah, Sena picking up the tower in the top lane. Meanwhile, they're picking up the red buff in that jungle, of course. Moarth picking that one up, and Sena isn't done pushing here just yet. As you do see Tyriadis taking a bit of poke. Obviously, Nuke Duck will be spamming out those shock blasts all day long, and Tyriadis is going to take a bit of damage, but so far he is just fine. Touch opting to rotate over towards that mid lane. Probably to help out Nuke Duck, maybe to get some extra vision control. The blue buff is now being started by Lifting, so it's probably going to be a Nuke Duck that will get that one gifted over to him, which may be painful for Tyriadis if he doesn't manage to dodge those skill shots out of Nuke Duck.
And I mean, there are a lot of things going in Tricked's way. What is going in Aria's way, I would say, is a top lane matchup, as these are two, of course, really late game champions here who prefers to scale up with a lot of items and levels. And Speed is actually level 7 right here, able to pick up quite a bit of CS. Well, Babunia is actually somewhat getting bullied out here, and it's just level 5 right now, so I mean, they have to, if they are able to feed even more towards this Kassadin, I think that is going to be the chance for Aria, as Tyrannus is going in once more!
Oh, Tyrannus goes in, that is so much damage, the last shot of the Spirit Rush, just enough to clean up Nukeduck. And well, so far this is the second game where Tyrannus has been doing this. He's really dominating Nukeduck in that mid lane.
Yeah, Tyrannus are really scary here, and with the much more active jungler from Move Out this time compared to last game, he is really ganking and invading on this Kha'Zix. He is falling behind in farm, but it doesn't really matter, as they are going to be picking up the second tower here for Tricked, and perhaps looking towards the dragon quite soon, as Move Out is level 8 compared to level 6 of lifting.
Yeah, so far Nico will be helping out Babunia to get back into the lane. They're duo bottom lane with the I'm almost inclined to call him AD carry Jax, but of course that's not what he is. He'll probably just be the fighter that he normally is. But that bottom lane so far has been working out for them. He is quite even in CS when it comes to speed, and actually we do have some action going on here, so I'm going to ditch that thought for a second here. Some rotations going on at the moment. Aria rotating over towards that bottom lane. We do see her connecting on towards Tush. Will use that Unbreakable, but there is the Glacial Fissure. He's really taking a lot of damage, but the flash is enough to get out. Nico will get blown up, but that's another kill here for Sena. He picks up one. Speed might now be in trouble. More taking a beating. Whoa, Nukeduck doing so much damage. Babunia jumps in, gets a 2-man stun. Is it going to be enough? Speed goes down now. Touch might be next. Nukeduck also taking so much damage, but he is also dealing so much damage for himself. It is a 2-for-2 so far. Morth solo. Oh, the minions tank the shock blast, but it really is not enough, and Nukeduck cleans up in the end. Charm comes through on towards Touch, but that Unbreakable is so strong when it comes to tanking damage. Now Tyrannus, being forced to run, uses the Spirit Rush, still has 2 of those charges, but we do see Aria backing off rightfully so. Oh, Charm comes in once again, does manage to hit Prebz, but here's the teleport out to Speed. He'll be trying to chase down Tyrannus. Tyrannus takes a lantern ride to safety with some BM on top of that.
Wow, that was a really long, really even fight there, but it looks like actually Aria is coming out on top here with Speed teleporting in. There is the TP for Babunia, but it's not going for it. It's going to be able to pick up the farm towards the top lane on the Jax instead. So yeah, I'd have to say that, of course, Aria came out on top of that, picking up the dragon, but it's not as terrible as it might seem for Tricked, as Jax is already 15 CS ahead and is going to be getting like 10-15 CS more here in the top lane. So I think that's really good for them. Also, I have to note that Solna, at the start of that fight, was sitting on around 2,000 gold. If he had been able to back off and pick up something like a pickaxe and tier 2 boots, that would have been a completely different story.
Yeah, luckily for Aria eSports, they did manage to pick up a dragon, which is really nice for them, because that is going to close out that gold discrepancy just by a bit. They are right now around 1,000 gold behind, which is of course not ideal, but hey, it could be a lot worse. Tyrannus may be looking to chase down Touch here. Obviously, Touch deciding to go for the Braum here instead of the Janna, because last game Tyrannus really wrecked him. Now switching our focus towards that top lane, lifting going on towards Babunia, and a pause comes in.
Yeah, and there is they say that there is the DC for Touch there. He's actually disconnected, so hopefully it's going to be fixing that up real quick, and perhaps not the best time for a pause there for Aria, as they would have had the kill towards Babunia, I think, but I believe they will still have it, as the game is just about to resume here, as it seems like Touch is back in the game.
Yeah, it seems like we will indeed be heading back in towards game. Babunia has now had some time to think out what he's going to do next. Counter-Strike is channeling, jumps on towards lifting. Now uses that dodge, but is he going to be able to get out? It certainly does not seem like it, and Babunia will go down. Good gank out of lifting. He has fallen quite low, though. Just
have to note that they actually post the game at 13:37, by the way. Pretty cool. But yeah, the DFG is completed here for Trividius. He is going to be the huge threat that we could see last game, where he was just roaming around, picking up kills on towards the Janna all the time. But now Touch is on the Braum, so he's not going to be as unkillable, as he is actually has an ability that's called Unbreakable, which is going to be quite helpful versus the Charm of the Ari. So Touch is hopefully going to be safer this time when he goes to clear out the vision here.
Tyrdus eating another shock blast. It's really hurting him, but he will not be falling anytime soon. Obviously, he does have his Essence Theft passive, so he will be able to lifesteal up now now and again. As we do see Moarth heading over towards that blue buff, trying to give that one over to Tyrdus. Smite comes down, Tyrdus picks it up, Touch gets hooked in by the death sentence, but no one is actually going to fall anytime soon here. Lifting, trying to sweep out that brush, but Babunia knows what's going on here. Tyrdus eating another shock blast in that mid lane, and meanwhile Tricked eSports are going to try and pressure this mid lane. They have 4 members in this lane, and they are looking for some damage on that turret.
Yeah, just look at the vision control here on the minimap for Trick. They have walls all around the jungle, so if Lifting is going to try and go for the flank here, it's going to be spotted out, or is he? There is a pink bot actually there, so he might be able to go in for something here. As Nukeduck is putting in a lot of damage, force the flash out of Nico.
Oh, Nico so low. There's the kick, but he kicks Sena to the side, and he's all alone at that point. Double kill so far for Tyrdus. Now looking for more. Nukeduck B force a flash from the side. In comes Speed. Moarth taking quite a beating. Prebz being forced out easily. Charm connects on towards Speed, and he should go down here, but not before he uses that Rift Walk. Of course, Babunia comes in, flashes, and cleans him up. This is 11-7 so far. 1 for 3, and once again, Tricked eSports start to dominate.
Yeah, and this is going to be the mid lane turret as well. There's nothing that Nukeduck can do without any mana whatsoever. Babunia is taking up the turret, just like last game on the Malphite. But yeah, that was a really good plan, I think, for Aria going for the flank with the Lee Sin. And he was actually able to dodge out all the walls that Trick have been placing in the side jungle there. So came in, and then he just kicked Solna really without pretty much doing anything else. So it ended up being a good fight for Trick there, but Tyridius is huge this time as well. Has picked up the Deathfire Grasp and is now sitting at 258 ability power 16 minutes in. So he's going to be a huge threat.
And we now do see that the dragon is coming up in another 2 minutes or so. Babunia, 2 levels ahead, or 1 level ahead rather at this point of Speed, is trying to trade with him, and he's being quite darn efficient at it as well. In that mid lane, Tyrdus and Lifting facing off. No one's really going to want to fight at this point, because if you die, you might lose a lot of pressure for your team. Tyrdus, however, with his 5 kills, with his DFG, is such a force to be reckoned with, and I don't think anyone on Aria want to fight him alone.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't been able to put down more pressure on towards Nukeduck. Nukeduck only went down, I think, he hasn't actually went down in the 1 versus 1. Compared to last game where the Aria was able to pick up the Katarina all the time, pretty much. Now the Jace is actually able to play a lot more defensive, has the exhaust as well, so the Tyridius cannot put down too much damage, as the siege looks to be towards the bottom lane. And just look at the amount of wards for Tricked eSports there in the jungle, and behind them with the pink wards as well. There's no way that Lifting could flank this once more.
No, they are not going to let Lifting pull off that same gimmick again here. Babunia in that top lane still pressuring Speed. Speed does have his teleport at this point. Babunia does not, though. So it is kind of a power play for Aria if they decide to rush a dragon. But I don't think they have the capabilities to do that, because Tricked do have a large foothold near that dragon, and the teleports for Babunia won't be so far off. So Tricked just going to probably bait someone out here, and if they catch on towards Prebz or Nukeduck or maybe even Speed, it can be a very dangerous thing for either of them.
Yeah, Babunia actually went back and thought, yeah, he's going to go with the dragon and join his team. But now he's actually going towards the top lane, trying to put in even more pressure, because he does have the teleport. And this is something you want to do on such a strong split pusher as the Jax. He has been able to wear down Speed's HP and mana slowly over time. And that means the dragon is going to go pretty much for free over to Tricked. They're not even having to use the teleport. as Twidis is presenting so much of a threat when he's getting in towards his bushes, he can pick off pretty much anyone that comes to face checks.
Yeah, Tricked are now 4,000 gold ahead. It is looking dire for Aria eSports. And, well, to be honest, I think they're going to have to pull off a miracle if they want to stay in this game. Or obviously, oh, actually, Tyranid is now going in on towards Nukeduck. Oh, snap! Nukeduck just dunks, and both of them shut each other down.
Wow, really huge damage coming out of Nukeduck there. Did not believe that he was going to be able to just burst down to Idiot's HP there. But he has been farming really well. He has 3 kills now, 2, and Babooni is going to be able to get up with the lantern. Wow, Nika always in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah, Nika really proving his worth there for Moarth and the rest of his team on that champion. Lifting now looking for Moarth to face off, or just to make sure Moarth gets the hell out of there, because he of course was clearing out some of that vision. New ward gets placed by touch and they regain their vision control. Meanwhile though, Selna is clearing out that blue buff, but not if Prebz has anything to say about that. Prebz picks it up and he makes sure he secures that one for his team. It's not on Nukeduck this time, but fortunately it's not on the enemy team for them either.
Yeah, Selna now with quite a lot of items, and wow, just taking Nukeduck to half with one EQ combo there, but just taken to half actually by Nukeduck with an EQ combo of the Jace, so he has forced away a lot of damage onto most of these characters, but no real tanks on either team here. Both Jax and Cassidy is probably going to be free falling under what is usually called like off tanks or semi-tanks. As the Cassidy is going towards the Hourglass after Sword of Ages, looks like the Jax is going for the very standard Triforce Blade of the Rune King build.
Babunia heading into his natural habitats, which is of course that top lane. He'll be pushing that one out for days to come if he is left unchecked. Which is what he's doing right now. Of course, teleport is still up for both of these top laners. I don't think speed is, however, very one is extremely able to face Babunia at this point. He really doesn't want to fight him, and Babunia is all too happy to fight speed, but obviously he's always at risk of a gank out of Lifting. Lifting does get spotted in the mid lane, so do see Moarth and Tyranid now all alone in that mid lane. No one to help them out, but in the meantime, Selna and Nico are already at that tier 2 turret in that bottom lane. Moarth taking quite a beating. They do get themselves that turret in the mid lane, but is it going to be worth it? It seems like Trick are going to pick up that turret in the bottom lane, but they might get sandwiched nonetheless. There's a teleport coming in. Speed is certainly going to join this fight. It seems like Babunia did spot the teleport, so he'll be pushing that one out unrelentlessly. Tyranid is not going to get hit there by the Sonic Wave, so there's no follow-up on that one. And Trick just keep pushing in the bottom lane. Babunia just keeps pushing in the top lane. It seems like Trick are at the top of their game.
And this is something we've seen before, Touch getting caught out by Tridius, but Tridius does not go for the ultimate except to get away that from the Glacial Fissure. And there's the flash active from Touch. Wow, what a...
Exhaust does go down. Tridius does make it out alive, and Speed pays the price. Tyranid picks up his first kill of the fight, but he may be forced to run out of it. Void Assault being used. Lifting. Oh, actually, another charm landing down towards Nukeduck. Double kill so far. Tyranid now looking for more. Touch will perhaps also go down. Babunia with the Blade of the Rune King picks up one. Lifting now being forced to flash out. Moarth not done with it just yet. Oh, the sidestep for the Sonic Wave, and Moarth finishes him off. Tyranid picks up the kill. It's a 4-4-0.
And that is, just look at Tyranid's HP. He was down to like 1 or 2 bars, but that just goes to show that his passive is actually really valuable with the extra spell vamp there. And that was a really good fight. They are able to continually bait in Aria to take these fights, and Cassidy simply not spiking yet with a 140 CS. He has 2 items, but Babunia is going to be able to, I believe, pick up his Trinity Force right now. And now this Jax is going to be pretty much unstoppable. I'm not sure if Nukeduck could actually go 1 versus 1 with him in the lane, but we have seen time and time again that Speed definitely cannot.
Yeah, Aria is really taking a beating at the moment. And well, Tricked are really playing well to their credit, as Tyranid just heads back in towards that mid lane for some more pushing, I'd say. There's only one tier 2 turret standing at the moment, so Tricked are really doing a good job, and that I'd say that turret is only 1 or 2 hits away from certain destruction. As we do now see Tricked trying to grab themselves some vision control and try and deny some vision control from their enemies near that dragon. And, well, they're also doing a good job of that. There is one sneaky pink horde in their very own jungle, which they did not see so far. And it seems like Tricked are determined to take this dragon. I don't think Aria can take a fight here, but they are making a really bold but smart move, in my opinion. They are just going to push up this mid lane. Morth is going to try and cut them off, but Aria may be the one that's going to cut TRC off in this case. Morth gets caught. There's some rockets out of Prebz. He will be forced to use that Void Assault. He does make it out alive, but now that tier 2 turret is subject of a whole lot of hammering. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Babunia hammering on the inhibitor. Aria, again, being out-rotated by Tricked eSports. Speed will be forced to recoil here. They're looking for the inhibitor turret, but finally, Tricked are in a good position. The inhibitor goes down. Babunia finally gets what he wants, but it is something really, really good. Ping goes down on Baron. They may actually be pressuring for a Baron here.
Wow, and yeah, they got the inner turret in the mid lane, but the inhibitor went down for Trick, and now they're going for the Baron. Very low mana on what's move out with the TP coming in from Babunia. I believe this is going to be the Baron going down, but Aria is going towards the mid lane for the inhibitor. Wow, what an explosive game. So much going at the same time. It's going to be Baron for Trick, but it's going to be the mid lane inhibitor actually for the team Aria.
Oh no, Tricked actually cancelling their recalls. They're going for that top lane. Is Aria going to realize this? No, they do not. They're going just to leave that one open. And meanwhile, Tricks have rotated over towards that top lane. Morth is going to face tank this turret. He's going to destroy it, and they're going to head back. But meanwhile, Touch and Nukeduck are heading back towards that mid lane. They're going for those Nexus turrets. Everyone has to recall right now for Tricked eSports. They are going to finish off the first Nexus turret here. Touch and Nukeduck are going to make it happen. Recalls come in. Here's the home guards to try and finish them off. Nico looking for a flay. Salna flashes in. Oh, finally they get the kill on towards Nukeduck. Touch also going to get chased down here. There's your Blade of the Ruined King, and Touch should not last for too much longer. They get themselves a Nexus turret, but was it worth it? Because there's 2 deaths right now, and with 30-second death timers, it may definitely not be worth it, as Tricked eSports are heading up the mid lane.
Wow, what an explosive fight that was, and I'm not actually sure if Tricked is going to be able to pick up something off the back of that, because they do not have any minions here. If they want to go for this inhibitor turret, they are going to have to face tank it, but there are also super minions here off the side of Aria, which actually helped quite a bit here. They start to try and tank up the turret, but they are taking quite a bit of damage. Here comes Babunia though, but yeah, the turret is going to be left with a little bit more than half HP as Nukeduck and Touch is actually coming in right now. If you want to fight even more, you should not forget that they do have the Baron buff.
Yeah, they do indeed have the Baron buff, so they can siege until that one times out in theory. Meanwhile, the minions are actually reaching the Nexus turrets on that Aria eSports base. They get themselves the inhibitor turret, dive on towards Touch. He gets charmed, and he will go down instantly. He's a tanky man, but not when 5 members dive on towards him. Aria eSports, 1 man down. Tricked eSports now have 2 inhibitors down on that Aria side, and they're heading up. They're heading for that top lane, and they are definitely not done with Aria eSports just yet.
Wow, that is they were able to pick up the second inhibitor there, and this means that Aria should just sit in their base and defend, but they are not a normal team. Aria is going down towards the mid lane. They are pushing out really, really far. Are they looking for a fight, or are they just being a bit too cocky right here, as Prebz and Lifting might be in a bad spot here?
Oh no, Morth heading in towards Lifting. Void Assault being used. We do see the Locket of the Iron Solari coming through. It's a bit of a shield, but it may not save Lifting. Tries to do what he can, but it doesn't matter in the end. Another kill comes down on Prebz. Babunia picks that one up. There's 2 men down. Once again, super minions streaming into the base of Aria eSports, and they find Nukeduck. Oh no, Nukeduck is going to go down as well. Maybe looking for a kill down towards Nico, but a brilliant hook is going to delay that one. It's Nico that will go down in the end as well. well. Super Me is also streaming into the
Oh,
base
the TP!
of Tricked eSports. TP of Speed is going to come in here. He's going to hammer on that Nexus turret. Teleport comes in. He will be able to take it down, perhaps. Oh, the Zonya's Hourglass goes down. Meanwhile, Tricked are in the Aria eSports base. Speed looking for the finish here. Is it going to be enough? Touch is going to try and help him out. Tricked eSports are maybe not going to be able to do it, but they managed to do it in the end. Are you kidding me? What a ridiculous game.
Wow, what a game. Aria really putting on the brave play there towards the end. They could have just been sitting in the base defending, but instead they went for the offensive TP. They tried to do it, and I admire them for it, but in the end it was not enough, and that is the series 2-0 to Tricked.
2-0 for Tricked indeed. Ooh, that was a really, really fun series to cast, and I hope it was really fun to watch as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with more League of Legends action in the form of Demon Logs versus H2K Gaming. So stick around, as the action is far from over.